Good morning. Good morning, class. Today again we are back to grandmother. So, as we did the poetry yesterday, and what we dealt yesterday is the two perspectives. We observed, we decoded our poem through the two different lenses. The first lens was of the non-native speaker. The second lens was that of the non-native speaker, non-native Americans. The first lens was of that of the non-native people, the people who are other than the Red Indians, and the second perspective was through the lens of Red Indians. And through the first lens, what we discovered is that this poetry is about the love, about the affection, about the intimate relationship a grandchild shared with his grandmother. That is what we decoded through the first lens. And through the second lens, what we decoded is the predicament of Red Indians, right? Whose cultures, whose tradition, or say the population wasted by disease, slavery, torture and war after the European migration, right? So that is what we decoded yesterday. First we decoded the love between grandmother and the grandchild. Second, we decoded the awareness about the loss of identity and also the quest for the identity of the Red Indians wasted by these white Europeans by slavery, war, torture, right? And also disease. So we come to know these things. In the second perspective, what we come to know is that these people, the Red Indians, are now searching for their identity, right? So these are the two perspectives that we saw our poem from yesterday. So we did that. Today what we are going to do is, we are going to look into the question and answer that is given in our book. So the first question, it goes like this. Let me write this down. We have a first question given in our book that asks us, what images do you find in the poem? First, it is asking us about the images. What are the images that we discover in the poem, right? And second, what it is asking is, To what senses do these images appeal? Senses these images appeal. So the second part of the question is asking us to what senses these images presented in the poem appeals. There are images in the poetry, in the poem by Rayombi the grandmother, and those images appeal to certain peculiar senses, particular senses, right? To which senses those images appeal? That is what our question is asking us. We can break this into two fragments. First, let's trace the images from the poetry, and in the second part what we are going to do is we are going to see to which sense organ or to which sensory perception these images relate to or they appeal to. Okay. In the very first part, as we saw yesterday, that in the first part he is painting the picture of the grandmother. What he is saying is a mile away. He is seeing some shape, a shape mile away with the scarf and the plastic shopping bag. So the first image that we decode here are the shape of a person. The first we find shape of a person at a distance, right? So it means a mile away. And then what we find is a purple scarf. And another, what is the, don't say and, what image is the other that we find here? That is of the plastic shopping bag. Shopping bag, right? Images. What we find? Shape of a person, purple scarf, plastic shopping bag in the first. Now in the second part what he is doing is, after creating the picture, after painting the picture, what he is doing is he is now attributing the qualities to this picture, right? Now he says that hands on the head, right? Hands on the head, warm and damp with the smell of root. So warm and damp hands on the head. So hands on head, and what is this hand like? It's damp, first it's warm and damp with the smell of root. With the smell of root. So this is the second image that we find. After that what we find is voice rock, right? And the voice coming from the rock, the voice. We find the image. Voice coming from the rock. This is the next image that we find. What is the other image that we find in the poetry? Let's check what is the other image. Oh, okay. We find that flow inside me like the light. One image is flowing like the light. Flow like the light. Another is inside me. And then what is the next image? Someone in the midnight steering the sleeping fire, right? So these are the images that we find in our poem. The first image that we discover is the shape of a person, scarf, and the plastic shopping bag. So you see, these are actually evoking the sense, the visual sense, right? So here, the first images that we see in the poetry, these images evokes the sense of sight, These appeals to our eyes. Shape, you cannot say appreciate or grab or decode or say know the shape through your ears. You see the shape, you look the shape, right? You observe the shape through your eyes. So the first image, when he is painting the picture of the grandmother, he is appealing to the sense of sight. This is evoking our visual perception. This is actually evoking our visual perception. So the first image that we find, the purple scarf, shape and the plastic shopping bag, these are related to the perception of sight. These appeals to our eyes, right? And in the second part, what we see is, if I felt the hands on head, see, now what is the sense that he is talking about? With the hands on head and the warmth, he is relating to the sense of touch, right? We can say this, he is evoking the somatosensory perception. We tactile, but tactile doesn't include the warmth. It is about the pressure and all that. So we don't say it tactile. Rather, we can say it the somatosensory perception or the perception of the touch, skin, right? Your skin feels the warmth and the coldness, right? So this is the second images that we find, hands on head, warm, damp. These are actually evoking the sense of touch, right? This is actually for the somatosensory perception. This is the somatosensory perception. First we saw it is appealing to the eyes. He is evoking the visual perception. In the second case, he is evoking the somatosensory perception. And in the third case, what we see is voice coming from the rock. Voice coming from the rock. Now this voice, what does this voice evokes? This, before going to voice, we have another sense here, that is damp with the smell of roots. Now this is evoking the olfactory sense, the sense of smell, right? So olfactory perceptions is also evoked here. First he evokes the visual perception. First it relates to our eyes. In the second image is warm, hands on head. These relate to the touch, the somatosensory perception. And there we have damp with the smell of root. Smell of root. You feel the smell through your nose. So this is evoking the olfactory sense. This is evoking our olfactory sense. Olfactory means say the smell, the sense of smell. We call it the olfactory sense, and for the taste we call it gustatory. Okay, so here with the smell he is evoking the olfactory sense. And now we come to see the voice coming from the rock. If I hear a voice coming from the rock, what is it doing here? Here the auditory perception is being evoked. Here the sense, your ears are responsible for hearing the voice, right? So this is the auditory perception that he is evoking. With the first image, sight. With the second image, hands on head, and warm, it's related to our skin. So he is talking about the touch, it appeals to our skin. The smell of root, this appeals to our nose. So here he is evoking olfactory sense. And now coming to the voice from the rock, it appeals to our ears. So here he is evoking the auditory perception. And after that, what comes is flow inside me like the light. And he remembers someone sitting by the sleeping fire, the fire that is being extinguished, that has been left there and is covered with the ashes. Okay, so someone sitting there. Here we see the sense of position. Here we see the position and movement being indicated. First, the flow of light, that is inside me, here movement, we have the movement, and here we have the position. We have the position, the location, right? So, and then he says, a person who is sitting by the fire and stirring it, he is removing the ash from the sleeping, she is removing the ash from the sleeping fire. So again here we see the position and the movement. And this sensory perception related to position and movement, we call this kinesthetic sense. Okay, so by indicating the position and movement in the final part, what he is doing is he is appealing to our kinesthetic sensory perception, the perception of motion, the perception of position, right? That is kinesthetic. So he is appealing different sensual organs, and he is also evoking various different perceptions through his words. First, he evoked the perception of sight, visual. He showed us what the grandmother looked like. He showed us the shape of the grandmother. He showed us her scarf, her plastic shopping bag. And in the second part, he showed us the intimacy. He made us feel the intimacy. He let us feel the touch. What is that touch like? It's warm, right? And he let us smell the grandmother. First, he showed us the grandmother. In second, what he is doing? He is letting us touch the warm touch of grandmother. And then thereafter evoking the sense of touch with the smell of the roots, he is letting us smell the grandmother, right? And after that, what he is doing? He is letting us hear the grandmother. We can hear the voice of this grandmother. After that, what he is doing? He is now talking about the movement and the position of that grandmother. She is out there as well as in here. These words flow are of hers, right? So here he is appealing to some sense that is beyond this five sense, right? So that is the kinesthetic sense that he is evoking. So simply, he is showing us the grandmother, he is letting us touch the grandmother, he is letting us smell the grandmother, right? And he is also letting us hear the grandmother, and he is also letting us to contemplate the position of the grandmother. So in this way, he is evoking 1, 2, 3, and then the 4 different sensory perceptions in the poem, and these appeals to different senses. Now coming to the second question. Okay, feelings towards his grandmother. How does the speaker feel toward his grandmother? How does the speaker feel toward his mother? This question also has two parts. The first part is what is his feeling towards the grandmother. Okay, and the second part says in what words? In what words or lines does he make his feelings clear? Lines or words? What words or lines does he make his feelings clear? So now, here we have a question. That question is again divided into two parts. The first part is asking us what the poet felt about the grandmother. What is his feelings towards the grandmother. And in the second part we are asked, what are the images, what are the words or the lines in the poetry that indicates his feeling. So let's check what is that. In the first part, definitely we see the love. We see the love. We also see adoration. Adoration. We also see the empathy there. We also see empathy here. Now, what is adoration? This is worship, love, veneration, deep respect, right? So, okay, let's see, where do we find these feelings? First of all, love. The love is scattered throughout the poem. Where is love scattered? Say, the flow inside me. See, they are one. When you become one in your, say, when you have this platonic level of love, right? When you are one in your soul, the physical boundary transgresses and you are united, say the soul is united, right? Now this is the case here. Here he says it's flowing inside me like the light. That means the love between grandmother and the grandchild is the platonic love. The physical distance cannot separate it, right? The loss of a physical body cannot eradicate the love, right? So we see the love here. And after that what we see is adoration. What adoration means is deep respect, honor, and say love and veneration to the person. Again, why it's a flow inside me? See here what he says, I would so quickly know. I would so quickly know the intensity also. He loves so much and he is so intimate that even a slightest glimpse is enough to recognize, enough for the recognition, right? So now what he is saying through these lines, even if I see the shape from a mile away, I would so quickly know, right? I felt the warm love, right? Warm is also talking about the love. I would know the knowledge, the intimacy, the knowing of the other. These all are talking about the adoration. And what is empathy? Empathy is recognition. If I am able to recognize your feeling, if I can put, if I can stand on your shoes, then that means empathy. I can understand the pain of the others. Now here, he is very able to understand the grandmother as he says that, the flow of the light inside me. That means he is himself, he is not separating himself from the grandmother. Rather, he is understanding the grandmother very well. He can put himself in the mentality and in the pains of the grandmother, right? So we see the feeling of love, adoration and empathy here. It is the mental ability that allows person to stand on the shoe of the other, right? You can understand the mental and emotional state of the other. And we also see another feeling, that is of nostalgia. Nostalgia is about visiting the past and enjoying those past events. He is also visiting the past side when his grandmother used to sit by the fire and stir it for the family, right? She used to bring back the warmth of that fire for the family. So he is visiting there, and that visit to his grandmother is not bad and painful to him. Actually, he loves to be in that moment, right? So we also see the feeling of nostalgia, the longingness to his grandmother of the past, right? So these are the feelings that is being portrayed, that is being displayed in the poetry by the poet for his grandmother. Okay, now other dictions that we see, these feelings are from know so quickly, felt, warm, inside me, right? These are the things which tell us about the love, adoration, empathy, and also the nostalgia of the poets, right? Now, after this, we see that not only the conditional statement, the other factor beside these questions, few of the extra things, we see the poet is not using the capital. He is using the small letter to start his sentences. Why is he using the small letters? Because of this small letter, he is indicating the status of Red Indians in America. He is telling us that the Red Indians are marginalized. They are not prominently seen in the American history. They have been marginalized in American society. Not only in American society, rather the American history also haven't kept them in the prominent position, in prominence. Rather, they are also lost in the history. So this I is signifying that Red Indians are now not prominent in America. They are not seen as they used to be seen, as they once were there in America, as they were prominent once. Now these millions and millions of Red Indians are not there. They have shrinked from the bigger size to smaller size. They have changed the shape, and capital letters are prominent. But small letters, when you write all, they are not prominent. And among the small letters, there one capital that is prominent, right? So capital letter also symbolizes the prominence. So he is also saying that we are not prominent as we were once. And another thing is also the marginalization of the Red Indians is indicated through the use of small letters. Next is that we see the use of conditional statement and would. We see the use of if in the past form, and then we see the use of would. Would have, I would know, it would be her if I see. Why he is using this structure? This structure we use to speculate the imaginary situation. Speculate the imaginary situation. We use this structure to speculate the imaginary situation, to suggest someone something. Okay, so this is not used to indicate the real situation. This is used to talk about the imaginary situation. So he played with the grammar to convey his meaning. First, what he did not use the capital letters to show the lower status of Red Indians. Second, what he did, he used the sentence structure that indicates the imaginary world, that is used to speculate the imaginary situation. So now he is saying these things are not there, and he is imagining something, right? What he is imagining? There's a loss of identity, and he is imagining the gaining of the identity, the revival of that identity, right? So this is how he plays. He plays by evoking all the senses. By evoking those senses, he portrays his feelings towards the grandmother, and also with the play of grammar, he is indicating the major, he is hinting his major theme, that is the Red Indians, right? Through his play of grammar. This is all for today. And tomorrow again we will be doing another poetry from this unit 1, that is the Lamentation of the Old Pensioner. And after Lamentation of the Old Pensioner, we will move to Anton Chekhov's About Love. So first we will finish both the poems and then we will get to the story. I think this is story. Anyway, thank you class for today, and we will see back on Sunday. Thank you.